Hey guys, Dexter here. Right then, got a cool little ostinato pattern for you guys. Normally when we're playing a groove, this is a very simple groove by the way. Kick, snare, kick, kick, snare. And normally you play like a straight hi-hat over the top. But I've got one very simple variation I want you to do. Simple when you think about it, but quite tough to pull off if you're new to this kind of thing. And what we're going to do is, rather than just playing straight notes, we're just going to switch between two different instruments. I've got it here kind of notated between the hi-hat and the ride, and that's a big distance to cover, and again, that's one of the tougher ones you can get into. But trying to just move between them as you do something else underneath, some kind of groove, can be pretty tricky, and you're splitting your coordination, but it creates this really cool flavor and vibe within your playing. You can do it, you know, between other things. You go like hi-hat and up to the top of your crash cymbal, or you could go even between like a hi-hat and a tom. So again, I'm focusing on doing all the fancy stuff here within the groove, but just making the right hand do a pretty simple phrase like that. So, but for this one, hi-hat, ride, the way I'm going to notate it here, I've got a little bass drum variation just to push you slightly into this. I'm going to play bass drum and a hi-hat together, then we're going to go to the ride, ting, and then we're going to come back over, play the hi-hat and the snare, then over to the ride again. So just that first half, if you repeat it, the bass drum and the snare are both with the hi-hat. So kick and hi-hat, ride, snare and hi-hat, ride, and just start with that. As you play it, I want you to have my little voice going, ride, ride. Okay, that kind of helps, but one, and, ride, ride. So that's just the first half. And again, the bass and the snare are both with the hi-hat. If you're comfortable with that, try the second half, which is where I've got two kicks in there. Kick, kick, snare. Pretty simple when you think of it like that, but when we're trying to line it up here, your brain has to kind of overthink it, and it feels like you're a beginner drummer again, okay? And that's absolutely fine. We're kind of getting down to basics with this, and we're building this new concept from the ground up. It's going to have a little bit of that kind of resistance and icky feeling, and the more of that kind of practice you do, focusing on stuff you can't yet do, the better you're going to get at the drums. So the second half, bass drum and hi-hat, and then it's bass drum and ride. So two bass drums, and your right hand's moving for each note. That's deceptively tricky for people that are new to it. I've taught that kind of thing to a lot of students. It's like, why is that hard? It shouldn't be hard, but it kind of can be. So that's it. And then we're going to come back to the snare and hi-hat together, and then one more ride to finish. So same thing, but just with two kicks. Kick, kick, snare, kick. And that's just the second half. It's still with that alternation. I'm getting dizzy following my stick. But anyway, but that's the second half, just that. And again, it's just a case of trying to get that to keep going. While I play stuff underneath, I'm losing my voice, sorry. I just spent all day talking, so my voice goes. Anyway, but 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So trying to keep that moving along and do anything you want underneath it, and this is just the start of that. If you're starting to feel comfortable with that, next thing you can do is, well, do the exact same thing, but switch them around, start on the ride. So rather than hat, ride, hat, go ride, hat, just swap it round, and just imagine those two X's are in different places. They've kind of just swapped position. So ride, ride, ride. And again, keeping that bass drum. Sounds very different when you put it together. Here's a hi-hat first. Here's ride first. So it just changes the flavor of it a little bit. You can even switch halfway through, but it's just a case, I'm trying to just give you ideas here. And then once you're more comfortable with that, try and change the bass drum pattern, the snare drum pattern. Say you play this kind of groove, where your left hand's doing more kick drums. And you're like, yeah, I've got those grooves down. No, we'll try and do all of the grooves you know with that right hand going. And for those guys that want a real challenge, okay, you could start going between 3 different instruments and keep it repeating. So for example, I could go hi-hat, tom, ride, hi-hat, tom. So that's a group of 3. And always play them in that order, and then try and play over the top. And that's going to create a little bit of a polyrhythmic effect as we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But we're playing a 4/4 groove underneath. This is a lot more advanced, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm focusing on boom, boom. I'm trying to play this group of 3 on the top, which kind of overlaps in some pretty nasty ways, and you can do a lot with it. But just getting you into this kind of right-hand freedom, a bit of independence in there, and yeah, it's good stuff. Anyway, please subscribe if you guys are new. If you want to get more into this kind of thing, please just let me know and get involved with the channel membership stuff. So click that join button. There's a load of exclusive stuff kind of hidden behind that. And for everyone that's already signed up and is supporting the channel, again, thank you guys so much for that. If you guys are new, please subscribe, and you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you for the next lesson soon.